Beep, 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 beep. Breaking news. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening and good night, and welcome to the court of the EDI Jester on a glorious day. I'm just going to reach me tea. Never mind. Hey, it's me tea. How are you? Good peeps. I needed that. This is a glorious thing, tea, isn't it? Grown on the Cotswold Hills. Right, Tory conference. Managed, buy me a thing, coffee, Subscribe, move the mouse, subscribe. Share this news. Share it far and wide. I've got a couple of things. I'm going to tag some on the end of this because it's just Manchester conference. Tories are up here. Did anybody see that video of those nut jobs marching yesterday? They look like Nazis, right? I just, what? It's about, if you go and have a look, I'd stick it on the end, but it's got, copyright and all that on it, I'm sure. It's from some organisation. But we like to win and we like to gloat. Well, that's not true. I can't say that about all of you. But I like to win and I like to gloat. You please yourselves. But I'm also quite humble when I lose and watch them gloat. You're allowed to gloat when battle is done. But we have a tremendous win. A tremendous win this morning, thanks to women. It's a women win. A women win. The news many of you have been waiting to hear about, because this is probably one of the most serious elements of this. And it comes to us from the Tory Graph, reported by Laura Donnelly. It's just such good news. Trans women to be banned from female hospital wards. A win, a palpable win, good people. Thanks to the work of some incredible women. This is one of the longest drawn out battles of this particular culture war. And, Baroness Nichols, right? Some of the people I know, Sex Matters. So many of them, I can't name them all, right? And you know who you are. And well done for a beautiful, beautiful victory in what looks like a serious return to common sense in the medical establishment. So let me give you a rundown on the sort of thing that's being said at Tory conference. Health Secretary will use conference to announce proposals pushing back against wokery in the NHS. So the article is covering a little bit more than just that single most important factor, the reduction of the power of Annex B and hopefully its complete eradication. Health Secretary will use it to push against wokery. Trans women will be banned from female hospital wards under the Health Secretary's plans to restore common sense to the NHS. On Tuesday, Steve Barclay will announce proposals to push back against wokery in the health service. So it's today. He thinks that it's led to women's rights being increasingly sidelined, which it has. It's been an appalling wrongdoing against women. The changes would give men and women the right to be cared for on wards only shared by people of their own biological sex. Their own sex is enough. You don't need biological sex. I suppose you do, because, you can have televisual sex. Maybe I'm not right about that. And to have intimate care provided by those of the same sex. People who've been fighting for this. Henrietta, other people, right? Game on. Mr. Barclay said the plan would mean the return of common sense approach to sex and equality, ensuring that women's dignity was protected and their voices heard. We must remember that sex is one of the protected characteristics, probably the most important one, because it's foundational. It's us. What are we? We are male and female. That's it. Okay? The proposals follow concerns from patients and staff about biological men being allowed onto women's hospital wards. In 2021, the NHS guidance said trans patients could be placed on single-sex wards on the basis of the gender with which they identified. Mr. Barclay will also announce the return of sex-specific language to the NHS after references to women were expunged from advice on the menopause and diseases such as cervical and ovarian cancer. They're gonna be jumping. You know the loons you see online going, I have a vagina just like any other woman. Frank, you just ready? Oh, bugger. These loons that get their validation from infiltrated spaces and being treated as if they were actually women and getting their knickers in a twist because they haven't got a gynecologist appointment. These people, that's the ones that are going to be fuming. Good. On Monday, Women's campaign groups hailed the changes as fantastic news and a return to reality-based thinking. Mr. Barclay has been frustrated by ideological dogma in the health service, where terms such as breastfeeding have been replaced by chest feeding, and guidance refers to pregnant people rather than women. I mean, could it be more bloody demeaning? He will use his speech to the Conservative Party conference in Manchester today, right, on Tuesday, to announce a consultation on changes to the NHS Constitution, which sets out patients' rights in order to strengthen the protection for women. You can stick them all in with the men. We don't give a toss. And half the problem is they do. Usually twice a day. We don't get them in with us. We don't care. Men can do better. Earlier this year, a report by the Policy Exchange think tank warned that NHS trusts were compromising women's rights by providing same-sex intimate care based not on a staff member's biological sex, but their self-declared gender identity. Can you imagine being non-verbal? Can you imagine being paralysed? Can you imagine being at your most vulnerable when you are deeply ill? You know, and in pops, you know, some birdie bloke with lipstick and a moustache who thinks he's a woman. It's just beyond the pale that it ever got to this, isn't it, really? On Monday, he will do this. On Monday, he told the Telegraph, we need a common sense approach. Common sense approach. Come on, Barry. That is why he's announcing the proposals for clearer rights for patients. And I can confirm, he said, that sex-specific language has now been fully restored to online health advice pages about cervical and ovarian cancer and the menopause. It is vital that women's voices are heard in the NHS and the privacy, dignity and safety of all patients are protected. A source close to the Health Secretary said the Secretary of State is fed up with this agenda and damage it is causing. Language like chest feeding, talking about pregnant people rather than women. It exasperates the vast majority of people, and he is determined to take action on it. He is concerned that women's voices should be heard on healthcare and that too often wokery and ideological dogma is getting in the way. Maya Forstata, the executive director of Sex Matters, a campaign group, said, "This is fantastic news. I could just see the smile on her face," because she's got a great smile, Maya. Beams when she smiles. She's got a great smile. I could just see the smile on her face. "This is fantastic news. The return of common sense and reality-based thinking about biological sex within the NHS. Staff trans activists have been wreaking havoc across the health sector from the removal of sex-based language in women's health to insisting that the identity of NHS workers trumps patients' rights to single-sex care. Undoing the damage will take years of concerted effort, but will bring huge benefits for all patients and staff, most especially women. They don't like it. Oh. They're going to be absolutely spitting blood. Dr. Louise Irvine, who co-chairs the Clinical Advisory Network on Sex and Gender, welcomed the changes. Why is that a thing? Why is there a thing? A clinical, honest to God. See, it's all got to go, right? But Louise is one of the good guys, by the way. Dr. Louise Irvine, who said biological sex isn't one of the good guys, by the way. Not in my book. Right, not is one of the good guys, isn't one of the good guys. Dr. Louise Irvine, who co-chairs the Clinical Advisory Network on Sex and Gender, that should not exist, welcome the changes, saying biological sex does matter when it comes to healthcare. It doesn't mean trans people should not be treated with respect and have their healthcare needs met too, but they're no different to ours. See, you've got to watch them. Well, actually, we didn't mean that as a Mott and Bailey. In my book. Sorry, Louise, if you're a decent, sort. But there should be a recognition of the importance of biological sex to ensure women get their care they need. I don't know whether you're good or bad now. Women have a particular reason for wanting a sex-specific service because of the sense many have that they are vulnerable when men are present or are being treated by male doctors. They should have the right to specify these things for the sake of privacy and a sense of safety. So I don't know about you, Louise Irvine of the Clinical Advisory Network on Sex and Gender. I don't know where you stood before. Maybe people will have a look and tell me if I'm wrong. You could well be, one of the good guys. But the fact that you're chairing something called Sex and Gender Network, which shouldn't exist. Gender doesn't matter. It's immaterial. Earlier this year, Sir Keir Starmer, the Labour leader, says his party would back single-sex wards based on biological sex. Don't trust him an inch. On Monday, Dame Priti Patel, a former Home Secretary, said the Tories needed to do more to take on the culture wars, telling a conference fringe meeting this whole political correction This culture, that has now taken over not just in our schools and our public bodies, public departments in Whitehall as well. This nonsense and these distractions were created by the left. They were created by the left. How are you doing out there today? The left? How are you doing? Oh, I should say, how are you doing there? The left? Does it reverse this video? I'll do it twice just in case I got it wrong. How are you doing over there? The left? Right, that works. The left. The reality is we need to absolutely not allow this ideology, this political correction that we see across our institutions, to dominate while we're doing the heavy lifting. We have vacated the pitch on this, and we do need to go back to our institutions, back to our schools, and give for example, in our schools, the parents the right to say no. Mr. Barclay will also use Tuesday's speech to announce a major expansion of the NHS workforce with 3 new medical schools. The schools at the University of Worcester College, University of Chester and Brunel University in Uxbridge will mean more than 200 extra undergraduate places from September 2024. He will also announce a new £30 million fund to boost adoption of new technology across the NHS. It comes as junior doctors and consultants take part in the most crippling NHS strikes yet, amid warnings that services have come to a near standstill. Strange thing to do if services are at a standstill, strike, isn't it? On Tuesday, the British Medical Association will target the Tory conference with a rally of protesting doctors. What does that look like? One with a stethoscope, one with a blood pressure machine. Consultants are demanding a pay increase of 11%. They need to screw off, don't they? Consultants, you know what they're on? You know what they're on? Yeah. The junior doctors calling for a rise of more than a third. These are the top earners in the country, by the way. Right? That's what they'll end up as. You know? I've got a mate man who's a doctor. He can't stand it. This trans nonsense, right? But he's rolling in clover. Man's as rich as Methuselah. I've got no sympathy with them at all. Right, so that's, so this is good news to begin with. What a great way to start a Tuesday, especially a Tuesday on which I'm going out to meet some folk for lunch. It's such an exciting day today. I'm finding it very hard to contain myself. So let's go for another piece of information as well, because I thought it'd be fun. Let's add another bit on, So what we've got is essentially a bit of news that practically nails these people to the bench, doesn't it? Right by their pelvis. Then we'll have another bit, right? Kemi Badenoch. I'm sure it's Badenoch. I keep getting it wrong. Kemi Badenoch, right? Guns for Stonewall and the charity sector. It feels like all my Christmases have come at once. Kemi Badenoch. War with Stonewall opened up on a new front this evening. This was from the 1st of October. Earlier this year, the business secretary incurred the wrath of the LGBTQ charity when she told government officials to withdraw from Stonewall's top 100 employers scheme over the charity's dubious position on gender rights. Right? Now, speaking this evening, which was the 1st, she has raised the question of whether Stonewall and other charities should be receiving any public money at all. It's time we got rid of the bloated charity sector. Government shouldn't be funding them at all. They're either good enough to stand on their own 2 feet or they can buzz off, They can buzz off. Whether she should be receiving any payment at all. Speaking at an IEA and Taxpayers Alliance event at Tory Party conference, Badenoch drew attention to the latter's report on the public subsidies Stonewall receives and argued that several charities should not be receiving public money to support people's hobby horses. Oh, God, this is so good. Right? She said, "We need to get back to a situation where charities raise money privately and don't take money from the government. This is not what government is there for, to support other people's personal hobby horses. We are here to make sure the country is run well. We are here to provide support for those who need it, who are the most vulnerable. But I was quite shocked at how much we had been funneling into an organisation so as they could mark our homework. And we've been working to remove so much of the third sector organisations marking government's homeworks. Well, we pay them to do so. We are the government. We should be marking our own homework. The only people we are accountable to are the electorate, the voters." Mr. S suspects, this is Steerpike who wrote this, Mr. S suspects this one will go down well with the UK's bloated third sector. It's just brilliant. It's just brilliant. So there we go, right? A victory. Remember the women that did this. Remember Sex Matters. Remember the Baroness. Remember everybody else that's fighting in this game. But remember the women, because it was them that pointed out. It was them that saw it. It was them when Okay, we're going to stop this. Links are in the doobers as usual. Buy me a coffee if you can do. Help me out. Yep. It's nice to finish on a good news thing, isn't it? For a change. I'm finishing on good news and I'm going to leave you with that because I'm turning it off now.